Hello, my sexy souls. Welcome back. We're going to be doing the element of water today for this video. Okay, let's see here. Prepped everything. Already gone through things. Okay, so a reminder for anybody that's new. I don't do reversals. I pick up on energies, so you're going to have to apply this how it fits. I will read it as if the viewer is the one that this is happening to, but switch it around if you have to. If it resonates, it resonates. But please do not Cinderella this shit and try to make something fit. If you're feeling like there's a message out there for you, there probably is. If this doesn't resonate, then this is not the one. Okay? All right. Let's see here. And if I cough or do any of those weird things, it is allergy season. And I was not overlooked. Let's just put it that way. Okay. I feel like my energy, I'm getting pulled. I don't know where to, though. All right. Okay. We're starting with Angel Orion, Oracle of Emanations. Let's see here. And I am trying out, I've got like 5 different mics. I am trying out different mics. So if my shuffling is super loud or if anything like that occurs, I apologize. Also, I have children at home that are older, 17 and 11, that are doing homeschooling. And you would think somehow at that age they know, even when I say, okay, I'll be in there, leave me alone, I'm recording, shush. They're boys. They got the heaviest feet. Holy. So if you hear background noise, I apologize, but these are the times. So, and yes, they are working from home, but I've got one that's like extremely smart and gets done like in 2 hours, and I don't have to help, and I know that I am super lucky in that department. Because I know some parents are like, oh, I mean, the way that they do shit anymore, it's so like, okay, that's not how I'm going to do old school. Use my fingers to count, all that kind of stuff. So, anywho, let's see here. And he's the one that, like, okay, so it's my 11-year-old. He's super, super just fast, and like shit comes easy and it makes sense. And I don't know why I'm going on about this, but I'm gonna tell you about this. I have a master's degree, and so one day, I think he was like in the 3rd grade, he kept saying that asking questions basically about degrees and what does it mean. And so he went through the bachelor's and master's and the doctorate and things like that, and then about how many people actually go to those levels, and how long you have to be in school for that and all that kind of stuff. And so he said, he talked about, he was so sweet. He was like, Mama's smart. I'm like, oh, well, I guess that's debatable, right? And so then he's like, Mama, guess what? I want to be smarter than you, so I'm going higher than a master's degree. And I was like, yes. I was like, that's a good goal, And while school is not for everybody, or let's put it this way, this particular track of further education, I am fully well aware. It was a struggle for me. It is for him. This is going to be, like it shit just clicks and comes natural, and he's fast at it. And we need people in all walks of life. And so that's his route. Hell yeah, do it, dude. And so he then tells me at school, they broke everybody up into kind of groups, like the 4 elite colleges, like Princeton, Howard. I don't fuck if I know what they were, but Princeton was one of them. And so he told me, he goes, Mom, I'm in Princeton. They're considered the top school, whatever, right? We did have to have a conversation about being humble in those respects, because just because he's book smart doesn't mean that. Anywho, and so he decides that and I don't know why I'm rambling on about this. There's got to be a reason, right? We'll see. And so he ends up telling me that he's going to go to Princeton. I was like, let's do this. Let's like shoot for the stars. Let's go. I don't know if Mom's going to be able to send you money-wise. So I'm thinking that he's going to be able to get a scholarship. Well, there we be. All right. Okay, let's see here. Ooh. Ooh. Okay. This is where we be. Fanuel. Angel Fanuel. Angel of Truth. Again, this is Angel Lorium's Oracle of Emanations. It kind of follows the Tree of Life. Yeah. And Kashiel, Angel of Punishment. All right. Now, as you all know, when I do these Oracle cards, I read from the book. Just because I definitely believe that Oracle cards, especially certain decks, are very highly infused with a specific intention. It's not the same as tarot. Yes, I still do intuitive interpretation and channel. However, I always want to read from the book to give you that basis of what the energy of the card itself holds. Okay. And this shit is not in order. And of course I would choose this to, well, Spirit would choose this to go first. So, alrighty. Yep. And it's in like several different languages, and sometimes I hop and I'm like, oh, went too far. Alright. Oh man. I apologize. I did lick my finger. Okay, it's in my own home. I'm quite used to these germs. I know it's pandemic. I put freaking sanitizer on like it's not even fair. But you know what? I did that shit before this stuff happened because it's called germs, and viruses existed before then. And I would send my children with the little things to school. Like I had like 5 things of antibacterial soap here. I had probably about 7 of the pumps and little things to put the sanitizer in when all this stuff happened. And I'm thinking people are, and I'm like, you know, and it's fairly simple. Just gonna say washing your hands and not, you know, whatever. If I'm in my own home, it's one thing. If I'm out and about, you're not gonna see me lick my finger. That shit gets washed. And you should hear me. Get your hands out your mouth. I have a 4-year-old too. Yes, I did. I went 17, 11, and 4. I spread that shit out. Did I not? Oh my God. Okay. Sorry. I'm going on like, I feel like, oof. Like everything just wants to blip out. And I think that has something to do with this whole Angel of Truth. And I cannot, to save my life, find, there's Kashiel, but we want to, there we go. Got it. Here we go. Ready? Okay. Fanuel will wait for your arrival. It was here long before you arrived, standing at the threshold to the throne room. You may not have borne witness. Its sound may have escaped you. But Fanuel has waited there for you, eager to wrap you in a cloak of truth. Reality is ever present. It is a simple matter to find it. It is another, much more difficult task to understand that its truth can be different from truth. So basically, reality, things in the 3D, that which we see through our lens is not necessarily the truth. My truth is not your truth. Hold the torch high. See what stands before you for what it is. Not all the programming and the stories that we create behind certain scenarios or certain words or certain things and situations, but for what it is. Ooh, and having to uncloud. Ooh, I think that might be right. Ooh, Angel of Punishment comes up next. Kashiel. All right, here's Kashiel. Okay, this is going to be the hunter whose prey is falsehood. Oath breakers, beware. Kashiel will seek you out. Even as you stalk your own victims, punishment is upon you. No one who escapes the mark of Kashiel. There are consequences for breaking your word. The pieces sharpen and sink into your flesh, embedding themselves within your heart. So long as the offense stands, you will always be held in the sights of the hunter. Seeking absolution is noble, however tedious. Begin that journey with haste, lest Kashiel find you first. Okay. So, yeah. All right. There are consequences for breaking your word. The pieces sharpen and sink into your flesh, embedding themselves within your heart. There are consequences for breaking your word. I'm feeling there's a little bit of a couple of different things. Living from your truth. I think that there is a difference between, you'll see people who might speak their truth, but don't always action it. You don't see it in their actions. This is about integrity, okay? This is my words match my actions. And when you get to the point where you have discovered what your truth is, it's a completely different thing to actually walk the walk, okay? And my favorite quote is, "It is far better to live your truth than just to speak it." I do not know who, I read it a long time ago, and I've always said it, and I'm like, I don't freaking remember who that quote is by. But it's something that we see frequently, even on the platform today in society as a whole lot of, like, if you want to get political with some things, politicians saying A, B, and C, but literally not actioning that when when it comes to creating the systems and molding the systems that are the framework for our society. So, it feels like there's a bit of, like, not just being able to discover what your truth is, but no longer hiding it. Okay, no longer saying this is what I believe, but I'm going to action this because I'm too afraid to step out and actually do what it is that is true and authentic for me. There's no more of that. Okay, that's where you get to be the target of this. That the consequences of not living in your truth are far worse than what you perceive to be a negative consequence of actually living. That fear of what could happen if I did actually live out, not just through words, but through my actions, and through the energy that I emanate. What are the consequences that will come from that? That fear that we have of what those consequences are. It's like, whatever you fear, whatever you conjure up, whatever lens you have that you're seeing things through, and that kind of goes along. Let me, I'm getting ahead there. It's going too fast. Slow down. So whatever, that it's really, okay, so it just is about not just discovering it, but living it. But also, it went away. What was it that you said? Second. So it's once you've worked through a lot of your healing to get to the place where you've kind of deprogrammed and decluttered and you've stripped away all the traumas, and you are sitting there with what is true for you, what is real, what is it that means often that's authentic to you. Okay, and I'm tripping over my words. It's okay, so they're giving me a scenario. I'm just going to throw this out there. It's like encountering somebody who is projecting. Being able to recognize that versus getting caught up in your ego. Being able to show compassion and understanding to that individual while also keeping your boundaries. Like, not taking it personally, not allowing that to be what impacts your energy, and not allowing that to be a lens that you take on, however someone sees you or sees a situation through, really finding what's right and true for you, but also honoring where they are at in their process, knowing and understanding that this is a human experience. This is a process. This is something that everybody is at in a different phase. And I don't even want to make it sound like there's like this sequential matter to it, because there's things that I work on, people who helped me come back into my magic, come back into my magic after a lot of trauma that they are working through now that I worked through 2 years ago. You know what I'm saying? And but they were the ones that were able to help me. It's like this notion of, oh, I've already done that, so I shouldn't have to, we do things in different orders. We do things and come to understandings and peel away the layers differently from one person to the next. Are you actually giving another individual the compassion? Are you being able to see what's before you rather than buying into someone else's lens, or rather than allowing the ego to create a story behind what you're seeing in front of you? Do you really see what's happening for what it is? And are you actioning your truth? I could react my frequency, I say, is one way, and this is how I want to live. But let me tell you, and we are human, I will, okay, sometimes I will, and it doesn't necessarily reflect, I act out of alignment. And it's really about me calling back my power, learning how to do that. And then also taking responsibility for maintaining your alignment and living out of your truth and authenticity. And again, like I said, seeing things for what they are, if that makes sense. Okay. That's a pretty big message. All right. Just from 2 cards. Where are we going here? Okay. Secret Tarot. I want to say by Jane Lyle. I don't know why I'm blanking on that. Do this a couple of times. I've already prepped the deck, so we're going to figure out what's going on here. I will do an extended for this, just in case you're wanting more specifics. But I always try to also obtain a sufficient enough message for you through the free content that I give, that if it's not necessary, you get the gist of what Spirit is trying to tell you, what needs to come to your attention. But like I said, sometimes you want more details, you want a little more guidance, then you can definitely purchase the extended. However, sometimes, a lot of times, the free content is going to be sufficient for you. Okay, to get a message across. So that makes sense. I think that makes sense. All right. Also, I didn't give my spiel at the beginning. Just if you want to understand how I do the elements, there's a description below in the description box. So definitely read over that. This is not zodiac specific, guys. This is all about the element that you're operating out of or being drawn to the most at this point in time. Okay. All right. Ooh, 2 came out. Okay. Ooh. Okay. I'm going to get several out before I get to going. Oh. Okay. We shall see. More? We're going to start here. Okay, so we first got Nine of Swords and the Lovers came out together. So we're going to kind of talk about this together. What I'm picking up on is there's an individual that has come to a realization about somebody really wanting to express their feelings and emotions, and that's, I guess, why we're in water, towards this individual someone that they have deep affection for, but also feel a deep spiritual connection to for whatever reason. Generally, some kind of past life connection, or someone that's really here to kind of help open us up, or maybe a soulmate. This individual has a shit ton of anxiety. They're really trapped up in their mental space right now. They're contemplating on how to do this. And I think that they actually are so caught up in their mental space, it's preventing them from actioning. I think that's kind of what we're talking about. It's, really being transparent and authentic in all of your dealings, and knowing what is right for you, what path is for you, and wanting to act on that at all times. This feels like a path that so it feels to me as if they're wanting to like not speaking their truth feels like a prison. And there's a hope that by doing so, it's reciprocated. They know it may not be. And it's about speaking it irregardless. And how many times do we do this? How many times, in our awakening process, and awakening is really being cracked open to the expansion of self and understanding of love and the unity of light and dark or shadow and whatever, masculine and feminine, all the aspects of the whole, and really seeing things as a whole versus separate entities. That's really what awakening is. And coming to closer to this understanding of ourselves, our true nature, our true core. Not what other people tell us we are, or what we've been programmed to believe. And so this individual is just I think there's a knowing that there's a bit of a liberation in speaking that honesty. A lot of times this comes down to what I was saying originally, is we get to a place where we know what our truth is, but so in such fear of the consequences, whether it's, this one seems like, it's like, we fear retaliation from our families, from society. Sometimes I tell people I just can't human today. I don't want to deal with humans. We all get into that space where it's like, you got to protect yourself, and you've got to protect your energy and stay authentic to yourself and your belief. And I can, if yours are different than others and they are not in the same place as, you can only meet other people as deeply as you've met yourself. And you can tell when someone has not met themselves very deep. I'm just going to throw that one out there. A lot of times. And so if, interacting with other individuals who don't even know what their truth is. And so sometimes, you just don't want to deal with it. You just don't want to, but it's also like you've been too much for other people, and then you create your own prison. You know what I'm saying? The energy of that is stifling and stagnant. And it's like, I can't not speak my truth. It doesn't mean that you shove shit down other people's throats. That's not what we're talking about. But limiting yourself on how you express and just living it. Some people can get triggered and annoyed just by seeing you engage in something, or act a certain way. They get triggered by the fact that you didn't get triggered. Why didn't you do that? It's like, oh, for the love of, this is me. Just take your projections somewhere else, right? And so this is really about, what your truth is and actioning it, because the consequence of staying stagnant, the consequence of hiding yourself is worse than here, I'm going to give you an analogy. I always tell people it's so much more painful to have so much love and not to be able to allow it to flow out, to not give it. That's more painful than anything, even being rejected by somebody. To have so much, and it's like we tend to stop ourselves When we stop allowing ourselves to receive, or we get afraid of receiving, we stop giving a lot of times too. Because that's the flow of the energy. You know what I'm saying? Reciprocity. That's how the universe works. And so we end up closing ourselves off. And the pain of that buildup, that stagnation, it is far worse than anything, in my opinion, that we can experience. And so for this individual to hold it in, and it's not saying that this individual is going to tie a motherfucker down to a chair and be like, you going to listen to me. It doesn't mean that coming forward and speaking your truth, that other person must adopt your truth. It's also, like I talked about with these, it's also recognizing where someone else is at and honoring their truth. Your truth is not their truth. Okay? And how inauthentic could it be to expect others to live from your truth when you don't want the same done to you? Okay, so this individual is definitely wanting to step forward to someone, and despite, but the ego still wants to chime in, wants to protect them, wants to say, okay, do we really want to do this? And this is like an embodiment process for this individual. Okay, this is someone who is just now learning what their truth is, and learning how to exercise that, learning how to implement that, how to embody that, how that allows its direction, which path to take, and how to direct their energy. Let's put it that way. And so this individual really wants to come forward. But definitely the mental space is kind of creating that fear. And even if it's just reaching out to the individual, okay, and saying, hey, trying to see if they're willing to have a conversation, or, if they're even remotely open energetically to you being in their energy field, that first step, that alone is taking action. And if they shut you down from the get-go, at least you know, and you did it, and you're like, and then you can honor yourself for the feelings that you had, instead of ignoring them and shoving them down. You know what? It's okay that this didn't occur exactly how I had wanted it to, but I at least honored my feelings, and I spoke up, and I spoke genuinely to this individual and attempted. That matters so much when you honor yourself like that, okay? Not to say that sometimes you're not honoring yourself. You could literally have emotions for somebody, and it is about cutting them off is the way to honor yourself. So it depends on the scenario. But in this scenario, it really is about honoring and wanting to speak the truth, putting that energy out there and saying, this is for me. This is something that is feels right and feels like it should be a part of my path. We get the Page or Princess of Wands here. This is definitely coming forward, passionately, very genuinely. Pages are very innocent in nature, and it's probably going to be a quick thing. I'm just going to be honest with you. This individual is so much into their head that when they do, it's going to be like, for the other individual, it comes out of nowhere. It seems like there's no buttering up, and it's like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. If I don't, you know what I mean? I can't small talk this shit. So there's probably not going to be a whole lot of small talk. This is going to be a hey, can we meet? Hey, can we do coffee? Hey, how are you doing? I'd love to talk sometime. You know what? I've seen you out, blah, blah, blah. I don't know what the scenario is for this. We can actually look at that in the extended, but I've seen you around with friends, da, da, da. I really would love to take you on a date. Can we? Shooting their shot fast. And the other person's like, I had not a motherfucking clue. I did not know. Okay. And then we have the Seven of Wands. And Seven of Wands is really about, it's more of a chaotic, there's a stance of standing in your power with this, okay? This individual has gone through the Five of Wands, which is that internal kind of like chaos and external chaos of trying to really, there's this, the Five is really about that change, okay? And how that can look, and learning how to action on things And so they're coming in, obviously, a bit fast. The Six of Wands is really that bit of that triumph, in obtaining, like, really squelching that, when you first begin to action things, and living in your truth, and what can, the discord, the seeming discord that can happen when you change the frequency of everything, and your environment begins to feel it, and really coming out of that victorious, continuing to take those steps. And then it's like, I'm gonna maintain this. I'm gonna stand my ground, really asserting. Like, they're gonna come in fast with some kind of like whoop, and they're really gonna assert with you how they feel. There's no wishy-washiness with this shit, okay? And they're pretty passionate about it. I know what I believe. I know what I feel, and this is what I feel. And I kind of like this because, you go from this, like we talk about speaking your truth and actioning your truth, despite whatever may occur, what might happen as a result. And it's despite of whatever reaction there is, you know what I'm saying? This individual is taking the lead, stepping into Emperor energy. That's pretty badass right there. Not backing down from what their truth is. And there's no, here, this is about really being genuinely authentic and actually actioning their truth, okay? Wands are action. And it's really about sharing the passion that they have. This is not shoving it down your throat. This is not expecting you to reciprocate. This is genuine to me. And you can question me all you want. I have really gone through the ringer. I understand internally what it is that I desire. And I truly, genuinely desire this. They are taking the fucking lead within a connection, or attempting to. And I feel as if the individual that this person is taking steps towards recognizes this when they come forward. And it feels either different than what they're used to or what they've had recently. And that's very appealing. But also, if this is like a returning person, because I kind of feel like for some people it is, you actually are getting to a place of they're seeing you differently. Revealing, and I kind of feel like there might be more than just, I feel like you're revealing and taking action on a lot of things in your life. This individual's taking action on a lot of things in their life where they are living in their truth now. Whereas before they may not have been. Too afraid to. Too afraid of that change, that embodiment process. And so if this is somebody returning, it definitely looks differently. And you can see them standing in their truth and taking action towards it. It's no longer just words. It is their life. And by them doing this, it really brings in a whole lot of an illumination that occurs. This is the Sun card. Sorry, guys. If you want to take a look. I love this one in this deck. And it takes a lot of strength. Okay, this is like a lion's head, right? It stands for the sun. It takes a lot of strength to do this. And being able to see and feel the strength, that integrity that exists between word and action is one, a turn on. Two, really where creating safety within a connection begins. Okay, it is integral to that. And I feel like you see these two cherubs dancing, and they're doing a high five. I feel like the person that's being approached is just like, oh, thank fucking God. Like, I mean, how many times do you have somebody that returns from the past and you're like, same shit, different day, or how many times have you been approached and you can sense and feel the lack of integrity with an individual. It just permeates. And so it's one of those things where to have somebody who is so bold and so willing, you know what I'm saying? To stand their ground, to know what their truth is, and to lead, to be a leader. That's what it really means to be a leader. To kind of like action in every facet now of their life and they're coming forward towards you. Oh, okay. So you're the one that's getting this. And coming towards you. And just like the foundation that creates for something to be able to grow is just, oh, I guess it goes like this is what it did. Whatever. But I think that this is going to be a really good outcome. Like this just sets the tone, if that makes sense, for any further interactions between the two of you. And this is going to be well received. But this individual absolutely must come in and lead and be able to show, not just say, show that they are standing their ground and their boundaries and that they're living in integrity at this point in time. And that what they say in action towards this individual, this other person that they have deep feelings for, I almost said deep regard. I don't know why that's coming through, but deep regard for is like, that is the key, period, for things to turn out well. I'm going to delve into kind of figuring out a little bit more about this approach and what exactly can come from taking this kind of approach. Like when we say this is going to be a good outcome, what are we talking about here? Let's get a little more detail. All right. So if you want to purchase the extended, definitely click on the link below. If not, I hope this was beneficial. Just FYI, apparently this is coming through. And I hope that you learned something from really learning to just how important it is in any interaction for you to be living authentically and in integrity. And how that is like the foundation to any kind of connection that you have with another human. Have a fantastic day.